Welcome, whiskey adventurers. You're watching Whiskey Whistle, and I'm your host, Mark. Today, this is part 4 of the Japanese whiskey series, and today we'll be looking at Miyagikyo, which is this one right here. This is their NAS, non-age statement version, which was released, I believe, last year. Okay, and it's bottled at 45%. I would guess that it's likely natural color, but I don't know that for sure, so I'm not going to claim that. However, it is quite light. Okay, so 45%. Anything else? Well, let's get it poured, shall we? If you're tuning in for the first time today, welcome. I do hope you'll enjoy this whiskey review. We'll talk a little bit about the distillery, and we'll taste it. We will smell it. Well, we'll smell it first, and then we'll taste it, and we'll talk about the finish a little bit, and a little bit about the person behind this particular whiskey. Okay, so let's get it poured, shall we? Okay, that should be enough. That is roughly, well, between 25 and 30 milliliters, I would say. Interesting, look at the bubbles there. How about that? Okay, let's get the cap back on. And we'll set that right here in front. And I'll give it a quick little whiff. Well, it smells pretty good. Let's let that sit for just a moment or two. Okay, and let's talk a little bit about Miyagikyo Distillery, shall we? So, this was founded in 1969 by Masataka Taketsuru, who is the founder of Nikka Whisky, the company, and Yoichi Distillery, which was his first distillery that he founded, though I believe the second whiskey distillery in Japan, second or third, I'm not sure whether, anyway, second or third I would say. Formerly known as Sendai and Sakunari? Okay, anyway. Sendai, in fact, is the area in which it's located. Okay, and they've got 8 pot stills as well as 2 coffee stills. Coffee stills I mentioned in a previous review, which I believe was, which one? Oh boy. That would have been for Crown Royal, Crown Royal hand-selected barrel. We talked a little bit about coffee stills. Okay, so coffee stills is a type of column still, which is a continuously running still, so the input continues to come in, doesn't stop, and the output continues to come out. Okay, so that's why it's known as a continuous still sometimes, versus a pot still, which offers a finite charge. So you have to charge it with a liquid, and then you will run this still, and eventually the liquid is gone, and you need to stop and perhaps clean it out, and then start again. Okay. Anyway, so quite a big distillery, much bigger than Yoichi Distillery, and probably putting out quite a lot more as well. With the coffee stills, boy, you know, who knows? But you may be looking at something well over 10 million liters per year between the pot stills and the coffee stills. The coffee stills alone may be producing 10 million liters per year on their own. So anyway, if someone knows the output of Miyagikyo Distillery, please let me know, okay? I think there might be one person who does, and his name is Andrew. Andrew, if you've heard, why not send me a quick message, okay? And then I can maybe put that in an annotation right here. Okay. So the Miyagikyo versus Yoichi is known as a much softer style. So I would expect much less peat involvement. And if you're looking at the screen as the pictures roll through, very, very picturesque location for this distillery, which probably lends to its style to some degree. Well, anyway, the stills are much taller, much more slender, and they have also a reflux bulb, and there they are. Okay, so there's the stills, and you can see that little bulb halfway up after the pot. There it is. So what does that do? As the vapors, which will become the distillate, which will become the alcohol liquid, you know, the pre-aged whiskey, the moonshine, whatever you want to call it, as it rises, some of it will fall back, and that's called reflux. So the steam rises, and of course as it rises the temperature decreases, and then some of that will condense on the interior of the copper pot and then drain back into the pot, which is being heated. Okay, so that ball gives the that vapor a place to go out. So what happens is it will force that vapor to end up sort of going in an outward fashion, and that would most likely be the heavier compounds. Okay, so the heavier, higher weighted alcohol vapors will go out this way, and then they will cool and then come back down, and then right in the middle, going up the very center, will be the lighter alcohol components and other chemical compounds such as perhaps esters and so on and so forth. I'm not a chemist, but anyway, so this is what happens. So you're going to be getting a much lighter style of whiskey based on that very lightweight vapor that's going to travel up into the line arm, where it will then cool and become the new make, or the white dog, or whatever it is that you'd like to call whiskey that has not been aged. Okay. So quite a large distillery, and well, those two together are what are the components in making the blended whiskey for Nikka, such as Nikka from the barrel, and Nikka coffee, what is it called? Coffee grain, I think. Pardon me, I haven't tried it yet. It's hard to remember something until you've actually seen it and held it and tasted it. Okay. Now this one as well, giving it time will really bring out the nose. So let that sit for a while. And this is still a very rich style of whiskey. And there's also a little bit of a salty, salted note in there. Salted, nutty note. And also a little bit of that barbecue charcoal note too. But what's missing now, there is not much at all peat. Very, very little. If I were to guess at the style, this would be maybe similar to what I noticed old Glenmorangies used to smell like, as far as the peat content, a phenolic content. Okay. Okay, so well, let's really get into that, shall we? There will be a very short advertisement coming right here. Welcome back. Anything else about the nose? Boy, a little bit more spice here. Classic cinnamon, maybe some cardamom in this one. Hint of clove. Yeah, maybe that kind of, the baked ham, where you stick cloves all over the outside of the ham. Not dissimilar. That salted, smoky note. And there's some fruitiness going on there as well. I think I'll have to come back to this one as well. I can't say much more than that for the nose. Well, let's see how it tastes, shall we? Cheers, everyone. Much juicier on the palate. There's a bit of lychee nut in there. Lychee fruit. Not a nut. I'm the nut. Let's see what else we find here. It's very tropical. Papaya and lychee. A little bit of melon. A honeydew melon, in fact, not cantaloupe. Oh dear. Isn't that lovely? There's a little bit of a waft of smokiness throughout that as well. Perhaps a hint of peat. And the finish that I'm getting here is papaya, vanilla. It's dry and yet very sweet as well. That's very different as far as the flavors from what you would find in Scotland. We'll give it one more taste, shall we? Maybe some sweet, sweet fresh basil leaves as well. Papaya, goodness. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of water. Not too much. What's that, about 5-6 drops? Now, Nikka Whisky has maybe taken a backseat in a way to the other big company that produces whiskey in Japan. And of course, sometimes that's just the whim of a particular critic who makes a choice as to which whiskey is the best in the world, and that seems to prop up the rest of the brand. Anyway, let's try that with water now. Still a smokiness there. So a smoky, fruity character. And again, it's not like a peat smoke, but more of barbecue smoke. I think I mentioned that last time, from the Kingsford barbecue charcoal. Hint of vanilla now. Yes. Okay, so the vanilla is building now with water added. A little sweeter. Okay, we'll try that with water. Cheers all. Much sweeter, softer of course. A little bit more peppery than without water. And the finish is much drier, in fact, with water. Interesting. And not as much of that papaya flavor that I noticed with without water when it was neat. So, I think I prefer this one neat, in fact. Oh, very dry. And again, not in a bad way. So how do I like this one? I like it a lot. It's very, very nice. It's very different. Very well made. I don't think this is too young. I do wish I knew how old it was. But, you know, regardless, it's very quality, very high quality, well-made whiskey. So the WhiskyWhistle score for Miyagikyo NAS 45% ABV, released I believe in 2015. We're going to give that also 88 out of 100. Okay. Now before we wrap things up here, I want to do one more thing. We'll set those there together. Okay. We're going to mix the Yoichi with its smoky, salty vegetal characters, along with Miyagikyo and its lighter, fruitier, papaya-laced flavors, okay? And we'll see what happens with that. It's about 50-50 roughly. Let's accelerate things by agitating that a little bit. Slow it down. Very well rounded. Vanilla is asserting itself. salty vanilla, caramel and fruity. The peat has faded, but it's still there. So now it's really smelling like a very nice blended, well, in this case, blended malt. This is a blended malt. That's a blended malt. It's a mix of 2 single malts or more. Well, let's give it a try. Pardon me. The papaya is still there. Boy, my eyes are watering. This is very, very nice together. Yep, they've done a very good job of making sure that these 2 whiskeys complement each other. So give that a try. Mix a bit of both together, and I think you will be really, really nicely surprised with that one. Okay, so the Miyagikyo, 88 out of 100 on its own. And likewise, Yoichi, the NAS, both of them NAS, 45%. 88 of 100 to just to recap, and the blended malt, very, very well rounded. Not too much fruit, not too much peat. Neither too bitter nor too sour. A good long-lasting papaya smoky laced finish. I quite like that. The blend I'm going to give 89 out of 100. Okay, so give that a try. Buy them both. Try them separately. Try them together, and I think you're going to have fun with that. Okay, so that's it for me here at Whiskey Whistle. I hope you've enjoyed it. Come back again next time, and why not subscribe? That way you will be notified first of when anything new comes from the channel, okay? And I really do like to interact with all of subscribers, non-subscribers as well, so feel free to leave comments. And of course, it would really help me a lot if you could share the video. So share it on Facebook or Twitter, or other sorts of social networking sites, SNS, okay? And tune in next time, all right? And what's going on next time? We're going to stay in Asia, and we'll do something a little bit different, okay? So take care and tune in next time.